All right, we are on topic 6. How exciting is that? And this is on page 146 of your book. So open up your spiral and label your new page that we are multiplying decimals by 10, 100, or 1,000. So you guys already know how to multiply a 1-digit and 2-digit number by 1-digit and 2-digit numbers. So today you're actually going to learn a shortcut for multiplying decimals by 10, 100, or 1,000. So in everyday life, you use money and you use cents or change. So here's my nickel, my dime, and my quarter. You know that a nickel is worth 5 cents. And you know a dime is worth 10 cents and a quarter is worth 25 cents. Well, how do you write these as decimals? So how would you write a nickel being worth 5 cents as a decimal? We would write it like this, 0.05. 10 cents would be just 10 cents, and 25 cents would just be 0.25. The 0 that comes before the decimal, you don't always need to write. So if you just wrote that a nickel was worth 0.5 and a dime was worth 10 and a quarter was worth 0.25, I would take that too. And you can remember this easily by pretend you have a dollar. Here's my $1 bill. And, $1 bill. And then you have a quarter. So what is your total there? Well, you have $1.25. So if I take the dollar out of this and I just have 25 cents, that's how I know I wrote it correctly. Or that's just a way you can see how to write it correctly. Okay, so I'm going to show you kind of a shortcut. So we know that one dime is written as 0.10. It's 10 cents. So 2 dimes, well, it would have to be 2 dimes. We're just adding them up, and that gives us 20. We drop down our decimal. It would give us 20 cents. When you have 3 dimes in your hand, you have 30 cents. When you have 4 dimes, you have 40 cents. And when you have 5 dimes, you have 50 cents. So what pattern are you seeing as the value increases by 1? What are you seeing the pattern happen with the dimes? Yes, they're going up by 10 cents. So what I would like you to write on your page is some shortcuts, some cheats. And so I'm going to write those, and I want you to write with me. So first, go ahead and copy this in your spiral, and then I'm going to explain it. So copy it, pause the video, and then unpause it once you're done so I can explain. So now I'm going to explain. This first one, it says, how can you multiply a decimal by 10? Well, you will move the decimal point to the right 1 place. How do you know it's 1 place? There's only 1 0 in your 10. Okay, next one. How can you multiply a decimal by 100? You move the decimal to the right 2 places. How do I know it's 2 places? Well, 100 has 2 zeros. Last one. How can you multiply a decimal by 1,000? Move the decimal to the right 3 places because there's 3 zeros. So let's go ahead and try some problems and put all of this knowledge to work. So on your homework, if it asks you, or in the book, if it asks you to only use mental math, that means I cannot see you writing over here and doing it the long way. That's not mental math, right? So we need to use what we know. So right now our question is 0.009 times 10. And we know from the previous slide that if we multiply by 10, we have to move the decimal point to the right 1 place. So if we go back to this, we know we're multiplying by 10, so we need to move that decimal to the right 1 place. So that means your new answer is now 0.09. How easy is that? So let's try a couple more mental math problems. So I want you to write both of these questions down in your spiral. So the first one is kind of like the last one. It is 4.5 times 10. Well, our rule is if we're multiplying a decimal by 10, we know to move the decimal one place to the right. So all I need to do is move this decimal one place to the right, and I know my answer is just 45. Down here, we're doing 0.062 times 100, and if I go back and I look at my rule for multiplying a decimal by 100, I have to move my decimal to the right 2 places. So I need to take this decimal, move it to the right 1 place, 2 place. It now goes there, so my answer would be 6.2. Easy peasy. Okay, now on some of your problems, you may see an exponent, which right here is your exponent, your 3. So we have to go back to remembering how to know what 10 to the third power is. Remember that 10 to the third power is not 10 times 3. It's 10 written out 3 times and times together. So 10 to the third power, or 10 cubed, would be equal to 1,000. And a way that I remember that easily is that if you are, say, this is your problem, is 10 to the third power, or 10 cubed, it's telling you you need a total of 3 zeros. And one of these zeros, this 0 counts. So when I write my 1, I need 3 zeros behind it. That is one simple way to remember that. So going back to my problem, I have 3.1 times 10 to the third, or 10 cubed, which we said was 1,000. So remember your rule for 1,000. What do you do when we're timesing a decimal by 1,000? We move that decimal to the right 3 places. So we take it to the right, and oh no, we only have 1 place. So that means I have to go over more. So I'm going to write it over here so you can see it better. So we start with 3.1, but we have to move it 3 spaces to the right. So we go 1 space, 2 space, 3 space. What do you think we do with the empty spaces here? We just add zeros. So we add zeros in those empty spaces. Remember, we moved this decimal, it's at the end. And if you have a decimal that is at the end of a problem like this, you don't need it. So your answer would simply be 3,100. This decimal at the end, I think of it like a period. It's just the end of it, you know you're done with it, and now we don't have to use it. If you want to use it, you can, and you can do 3,100.0, but you do not have to have this part. So if this were your problem, 7.4 times 10 to the first power, or the power of 1, well, we know that just means it's 10. So 7.4 times 10, what's our rules with 10? We move the decimal point 1 spot to the right, and our answer would be 74, or you can write 74.0, whatever your heart desires. So what I would like you to try for your independent practice is on page 146, and I would like you to try problems 17 through 24. I know that's a lot, it seems like a lot, but remember, all we're doing is moving that decimal, so it should be really quick homework or practice work. My challenge to you is, on page 147, there is 2 questions that go along with a chart. And the chart has a type of coin in it and how many coins have been saved. I want you to try to challenge yourself to see if you can figure out these answers. I put over here that you do not have to, but I'd love for you to challenge yourself. Just see if you can do it, and if you can't, that's fine, but at least you gave yourself a shot at trying it. So we will actually grade your answers in small group on Monday, and so I am not going to give you the answers. So this is just your work. Make sure you bring it with you Monday. Do Monday, and I will see you then. Have a good weekend.